Thank you for joining us, sir.
because it's nature.
That is the truth versus the fiction.
Same thing with human beings. We are unpredictable.
If I'm posting a fake news,
There are bad actors. People had a lot of reservations around the sentiment analysis.
definitely.
Hopefully, I don't know who the listeners are going to be on your podcast today. It is important to allow people to have a conversation.
Welcome to today's podcast. On behalf of the AI Research Center at Voxen University, I am honored to introduce our exceptional guest, Mr. Anis Merchant. Mr. Merchant is the Executive Vice President and Global Head of Innovation, IP, and Analytics Consulting at C5i, where he leads the charge in developing groundbreaking AI driven solutions. He has an impressive background with key roles at industry leading companies like eClerx, Wipro, and McDonald's. His expertise and vision have earned him a place in the AIM Leader Council and 3AI Thought Leader Circle, as well as numerous accolades, including the prestigious AI Makers Award 2023. Sir, your passion for blending human and machine intelligence to drive growth is truly inspiring. Let's dive into our conversation with the remarkable Anis Merchant. Thank you for joining us, sir. So, our
Thank you,
today's topic,
Jaswar.
thank you, sir. Our today's topic will be leveraging AI to combat fake news, that is, the truth versus the fiction. Before we dive into the topic, so I want to know, do you think technology has helped or hindered the spread of information?
See, with everything good, there will be some bad, which will come in. I would say there is definitely a lot of good information which is being shared. Today, I was just wondering the other day, I was looking at my phone. Uh, when I'm old enough than you, what you are, or Ojaswa, but we would only get news with newspaper, which is probably a
Definitely.
day old in the good old years, right? And we would spend time. We would have a dedicated time in the morning where we would read through the newspaper, look at the news, look what's happening in the market, what's happening in the world, and that was our window to the world and to the information. But today, I'm being updated about literally what's happening in the world near real time. There are many apps and many technologies today which I've configured to my liking, like what I would like to hear and see and know about, rather than all the sad news, like what are the positive news which I would like to hear about. And I immediately get a notification on my phone that, hey, something like this is happening, right? Which excites me, which keeps me interested, especially around topics like AI, technology, and happy and fun areas which I would like to kind of make my own universe around. So that's just profound, like where the world has shaped into and how things are, right? Now, yes, you do come across, sometimes news do slip in, right? Sometimes these algorithms also fail. And I would get a disturbing news, which I don't want to hear about, right? I was having a conversation with my family the other day. We all are part of these WhatsApp groups, family WhatsApp groups, friends WhatsApp groups, which continue to happen. If some are good and fun conversations which happen, and then there are certain things which are very gory and drastic news which you don't want to hear, right? And you want to avoid those because it just kind of spoils your day, spoils your mood. So, you know, I, this is an example of good and bad. With eh, there will be goodness, there will always be a badness, right? It cannot be a perfect world where there will always be good with anything.
Exactly, sir. I totally relate with you, and definitely there are some positive things and some negative things, and it's a yin yang kind of thing.
Yep.
So I just want to know, as per our topic goes, that leveraging AI to combat the fake news. Can you give us a brief overview of how AI can detect and prevent the spread of fake news?
See, detection is a very interesting piece, right? It's like we are trying to detect cyber attacks. Or
Okay.
police is trying to detect where the next robbery is going to happen, or we
Hmm.
are trying to detect where the next storm is going to come in. Most of these algorithms or most of these exercises are always probabilistic. They're not going to be 100% foolproof. So similarly in AI, most of the models are largely probabilistic models. And you can have systems built which can trap uh, fake news or can be a verifier. For example, you get a notification on your phone that, hey, uh, let's talk about a fake news, which can be okay for listeners rather than people getting very angry with it. Let's say a celebrity just slapped another celebrity, okay? A deepfake news which just starts popping up. There should be a system where you can verify it or ratify it,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So that's one way of you know combating the fake news. But the other way is, once a media goes ahead and publishes it, there should be, how you have on your browser HTTPS, like, are
Mm,
these from verified sources, as an example, and who's the verified source, right? And like in blockchain, for example, you can imply the blockchain techniques, right? You can have one person who says, yes, this is true. The other person also should verify it is true. And there's a power of community which can come in and saying this is true. And we saw in the
okay.
recent elections which happened in India, right? There were so many deepfake news or videos which came out. And
Mm-hmm.
it's already started popping up now in US, and it's happening in UK as well. As UK prepares to vote, and US, as the campaigning process is on, a lot of deepfake videos have started coming in. Uh, there needs to be a verifier plus authentication of the source and a detection system, right? So if you think about these three amalgamations coming together, you need
Mm-hmm.
those systems. Today, unfortunately, those systems don't exist. Those platforms
Okay.
exist in certain limited way, but you need that a triparty or trifactor, which will really help combat these from a fake news perspective.
Okay. So in present conditions, if we say like these three factors are not available, but do we really use the AI to combat these fake news, or is it still in progress to build that thing?
So there are companies, there are startups who are trying to build that. But as I said, right, as I gave an example, uh, it will never be 100% foolproof system. Something will slip in, right? For
Okay. Mm.
example, none of our weather reports are accurate. Why does that happen? We have so many years of data. We have so
Mm.
much uh, information about weather. We know what
Mm.
patterns follow, right? But we still go wrong. We can blame it
Okay.
on weathermen. They are not also, I mean, they're also using science, right? And AI is all about science and the same science which we use in our business. So even they go wrong with so much of data. And the reason
Okay.
why this is happening is because it's nature, right?
Mm.
It's unpredictable.
Definitely.
Same thing with human beings, right? We are unpredictable beings. We will always find loopholes. I was just recently reading an article where all the LLMs which have come in India, for example, people are now trying to jailbreak them so that they can use it for free or they can use it for their own convenience. So, humans are unpredictable, nature is unpredictable, and when these factors come in,
Definitely.
uh, will we be able to build a foolproof system? The answer is no. Like Sam Altman in his recent interview, he was talking about it's also important for companies who release these technologies to ensure that they are able to build foolproof systems. Uh, if they are not, then they better hold back. Now, there will be certain companies who have a very strong ethics and regulations who would do that. Versus there are others who are, want to have a first mover advantage, want to have a first, uh,
Mm.
grab in the market or first name in the market that they were the ones who released it. They will cut corners, or you will see some, concerns showing up. And, because of that, there are bad actors who will go ahead and leverage those loopholes and leverage that to their own advantage or to the advantage which they had sorted originally for.
Definitely. I really understand that point. And with the bad actors point that you said, a question arises in my mind regarding while we are sharing a meme or a Twitter post. So if if we have to make the AI distinguish between what's a uh, opinion of a person, like you said, or a humor or an actual misinformation. So do you think the AI would be able to distinguish between these three factors, like what's the opinion, what's the humor, and what's the actual misinformation?
It's a very interesting question, Ujaswa. Meaning, I've been in the industry long enough, especially in this industry where we used to do social media analytics, right? And when it originally became a big piece many years ago, people had a lot of reservations around the sentiment analysis, as an example, right? The platform would typically, and the models would typically were very, because in social media, largely comments are largely polarized. And when I say
Mm,
polarized, they're either too positive or too negative, right? And if there's sarcasm
agree.
built, which can build a conversation in either way, right? The system is not able to build or detect that, as an example.
Mm,
Until today, and that was a problem 15 years ago, right? 10, 15 years ago. Till today, yes, the systems have got better, the models have got better to go and detect emotions to your point, or is it opinion, or is it a confirmed news, or is it a personal thought, is it a perception, or it's a belief, it's a self-belief without any facts or figures, right?
mm,
Or without any science backing it up. Uh, it's still not able to detect that. AI models still not able to detect that. And when I say that, it's not 100% true when it's not able to detect that. It is able to detect that. But see, when you think about, if you're looking at a single tweet in an isolation,
mm,
you will never be able to detect that. And going back to my earlier piece, you need a verifier that it is
mm,
right. Now, who's the verifier in this case, as an example? It's you yourself, right? Who's tweeted, right? That, hey, I'm verifying this, I'm coming out clean and saying XYZ is the source of this information. Then there is a verifier, a legal authority or a authority to say, yes, this is true. For example, if I
mm,
tell you today, about 11 hours ago in Mumbai, there was a weather alert where the local municipal corporation had gone ahead and given an alert on X saying that stay indoors because there's going to be gushing winds and all of that. And in the morning, I woke up, I didn't see any of that outside my apartment. But I happened to go to the gym in the morning. I saw
mm,
trees falling over certain cars, uh, you know, trees being chopped off because I could see a lot of branches on the street. Now, when I come back home and I tell my family is in disbelief. Now, why are they in disbelief? Because outside our apartment complex, we don't see any of that.
So the
Okay.
verifier
Now, if
plays
I
an
have,
important role in this.
yeah, yeah. So there needs to be a verifier, right? If I had posted a picture as an example, right?
Mm,
Now, today, when we post pictures, right, we often have fun, especially in Mumbai, we often have fun, right? Whenever there is rains, right, the reporters will only show one part where there is waterlogged. They will not
mm,
go ahead and pan the camera and show that the other side of the road is completely dry, as an example. Now,
mm,
when you're doing that, as an example, today technology allows you to do that. Why don't you have your data attributes of your pictures being posted together? Like what time, what place, because your geotagging is already there in your pictures, right? What
correct.
time did you click? How did you click it,
Mm,
right? Did you morph? Because on your phones today are also AI phones. You can also do a lot of morphing and a lot of changes. So why can't data attributes be posted along with the picture, saying, if I'm clean,
mm,
if I and that it all goes back to the individual, right? Who's posting it? To your question earlier, right? Is it an opinion or is it a fact with some verified? Go ahead and post it like this is what I saw, right? So, I know I'm giving general examples, but it's hopefully I don't know who the listeners are going to be on your podcast today. But if I again go too technical, it will go too technical. But I just want to say that today's systems are not 100% foolproof, right? Uh, and
mm.
you need data. And in this case, the premise is the data, right? The data is not backed up with a lot of other information. Looking at a single tweet or a single post on X is not good enough for you to go and make a judgment on decision. And if you are, you're making a fool of yourself.
Okay. Definitely, sir. And I truly believe even the listeners, our general listeners or the technical AI listeners, they'll gain many of the experience and they'll be able to relate with you and your thoughts that you are putting over here. And those are really interesting facts. And the way you are connecting it with the real world scenarios, that is amazing. But while you were discussing this, one thought also came to my mind that if there are the fake news, if I'm posting a fake news, there's also a thing in the Indian Parliament that we have the right to free speech. So, how do you balance the need to combat the fake news with the right of free speech? If you can shed some light in
No,
this.
free speech is at least in a democratic country like India or any other
Hmm.
parts of the world where democracy is prevailing, right? It is important to allow people to have a conversation,
Okay.
right? Uh, but there is a fine line uh, where, like you can see on today on X also, right? It allows you to do free speech. It
Hmm.
allows you to post anything. But then it also has a small blurb which comes in not from a verified source,
Hmm.
right? So yes, you should, and platforms shouldn't restrict anybody, right? Let it be anybody. Whether you're talking about political, social, religious, race, caste, sex, right? Whatever the topics is, you have all the right to have a conversation with anybody or share your opinion. But then the platforms should verify it, right? And to be candid, it is also if you are a bad actor, right? Like
Hmm.
you want to abuse the law of the land, saying it is free speech, and you want to propagate fake news, right?
Hmm.
If people start paying attention, there should be, as I said, a verifier and a checker that, hey, no, this is not right, as an example, right? And you flag it. You flag it and
Hmm.
saying this is not from a verified source, as an example, right? Or tomorrow, I'm sure. Whereas, for example, YouTube today, what's happening on YouTube as a platform, where they have started combating this now. And even Google, as an example, from a search perspective, has started combating this because today with
Hmm.
ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, you can write a blog like anything. Yes, you can generate a blog of 1,000 words or even 10,000 words in a jiffy. Today, if you want to create YouTube shorts, there are many platforms, very AI platforms, where you can create AI videos in a jiffy. You're talking about just
Hmm.
a post on Twitter. I can create fake news using videos on YouTube also, as an example. I can start my own news channel, right? Who will
Hmm.
stop me? I can start my own local news channel and I can start posting news using AI to generate content. Now, YouTube and similarly Google, if you read about it, has started combating where they are starting to build like a scanning technology to see, and they will ensure that when you, if it detects that your system or whatever your channel is or whatever your post is not being done by human beings and it's largely being driven by AI,
Hmm.
they are not going to promote that. They are not going to go
Okay.
ahead and push that up. The algorithms are not going to push that up further, right? Many times you wonder why is this video showing up in your feed, as an example,
Hmm.
right? It's based on your preference, your needs, and all of that. Similarly, there are channels which are, completely being driven by machines. Those channels are going to get not demonetized, but they will, or but they are not going to be. They are going to be not propagated that much by YouTube. Similarly, Google is not going to rank your blogs if it's completely AI generated. So there is that big gap, which now Google and YouTube are have to do that because it's their business. But I don't know if the other platforms are going to do that much.
Okay. We'll see that in the
So
future, upcoming future parts, that what it holds, basically.
definitely, definitely. But the
So,
point about free speech and fake news, you can't stop anybody of commenting or
exactly.
sharing what they are, right? But you should have systems which can block, tackle, verify in that scenario.
You very well articulated it. So, the way the thoughts you used in that, the articulation was very good. And I think the listeners who are listening or who will listen in the future, near future, they'll understand the part that although there is a free speech, but this holds a different part as well.
Yeah.
And I really connect with you that even more sophisticated forms of disinformation can be generated with this, and the safeguards that you suggested that can be implemented very well. So, sir, we are reaching to the end of this podcast. Many of the information has been hold, and I think that more information can just block the minds for our listeners. So, before Going to the end, I just want to know what role can listeners play in the fight against this fake news? Even AI is a weapon, if we say.
See, you know, this is a very interesting thing, right? What can individuals play a role, right? Uh, right now in the world, I believe we are all running on a 20,000 miles per hour when it comes to our emotions, right? It's a heavily emotionally charged world right now, which we are living in, right? Uh, and somewhere, I would say having an anti-technology mindset, and what I mean by that is practicing mindfulness and practicing, uh, uh, many mindfulness practices, right? You can keep your emotions in check. And the reason why it is important to keep your emotions in check is when you see something popping up on your feed, you just don't immediately react to it and let your emotions overflow that. Because when your emotions overflow from there, then you start believing in it, start engaging with it, and start propagating it more. Before you do that, right, you have to verify it. Did this happen? Is this real? Is this the right information? Or is this the person who's saying is it has enough authority to go ahead and share? And how is it going to impact me? What does it matter to me? Right? Or I'm just because there is a herd which is following that, I should be also following it, right? And how is it going to have an impact to my own mental state? Today, whatever has happened in the last couple of years and continues to happen, right? The
Mhm.
emotions are flying very high, which is kind of uh, creating a lot of void in humanity as a whole, right? So that is my recommendation. It's nothing about AI and technology. It's about you as a human being, because please remember, we are not machines. We are human beings, right? And that differentiates us amongst machines, right? I could have easily said, go ahead and put blockers, go ahead and technology is not the answer. It is the humans have the answer within themselves, on how they can tackle fake news and how can they combat fake news going forward. So yeah, that's my tip to everyone. Be more human. That will help you combat fake news.
Thank you so much, sir. Any books you want to recommend to our listeners? Any particular blogs or books you can recommend where they can get
You
more
know,
information or get influence like you?
no, you know, uh, I'm reading quite a bit of books right now. And there is a book. If somebody is really interested to go ahead and learn more or understand more, right? See, the reason why I always hesitate to give book references, because the kind of books I may be listening to or I may be reading is very personal choice, right? And if I go a little bit deep into my book reading habits, people will laugh at me. So I just want to be away from book recommendation. But I would say one thing. There are great podcasts and there are great medium of consuming and enhancing your knowledge, right? So don't limit yourself to books only. In fact, on my YouTube channel, I talk about the various mediums you can use. Today, I do spend a lot of time on YouTube as an example, but I'm not spending mine on stupid stuff.
Mm.
I like if I'm at the gym, typically what will happen is, whenever there is a free time, I will just scroll the feed and I will continue to do watch later, watch later, watch later, right? Which is there. So now I have like 400, 500 videos which I want to watch later. So when I'm at the gym, today I was watching an interview between Brian Chesky and Sam Altman in one of the conference, and they were talking about the influence of AI and how AI can drive things forward. There are a couple of video channels, YouTube channels, which kind of share what is latest happening on AI news. Uh, there is a platform called Novel Crafter. I've gotten intrigued by it because how AI combined with human beings, you can actually write books. So there are various, and my learning philosophy is that I don't spend time on one topic for a week, or I will probably bring 100 topics in a week and I will try to learn about it. Maybe I'm listening about I'm learning about music, or I'm learning about how to communicate better. So there are various learning topics. That's why I've said, when you asked me for book recommendations, I was thinking which one, because I'm reading five or six of them at the same time, right? So, and I've not finished any one of them yet, right? So that's how I operate. My mind is a web. It's not a string line, and all our minds are not single line. They're all a mesh or a web. So yeah, that will be my recommendation is don't get restricted to one book, or if I give you a book, hey, go and read about it. But just open your mind and see where you can go ahead and open mind. But really, if one book, if I have to, because you asked that question and I'm feeling bad, I'm not giving an answer. Uh, a book which changed me a lot is Ikigai, right? And I would just say that's one of my favorite book. If I have to gift anybody, I gift that book to people.
Thank you so much, sir. Also, I'll suggest our viewers to go for the more podcast things. Also, you mentioned you have a YouTube channel. Can you just tell us, our viewers, your YouTube channel so that they can grab
It's
more
Anis
information
Merchant.
from you
I
as well?
stopped it. Yeah, it's called Anis Merchant. It's nothing fancy word or anything like that. Recently, I have decided that I have stopped it. So there is enough content. There are about 1,000+ videos. There is podcasts on it. If people want to go ahead and see it, I'm not doing anything anymore recently because I have
Yeah.
changed certain priorities in life. So yeah, that it's something which I've created and probably will live forever until unless YouTube decides to pull it down. But yeah, that's there. It's under my name, Anis Merchant, and people want to watch it, they can go ahead and watch it.
Thank you so much, sir. This was really a great podcast with you, and I am really inspired. I hope our viewers also get the same information and they dive into this like anything. Thank you so much, sir, for having us. Thank you for accepting the request, and I am looking forward that we have more connecting podcasts like this in future as well. You have a really brilliant energy and great depth of knowledge. Really appreciate and thank you so much for having us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jasper, for inviting me.